I've been asked a lot if the PvP zone is any good. I'm going to break down my experience for you so you can know what I experienced from farming the PvP zone for many hours. I did actually farm the PvP zone a lot. I got the cosmetic for getting the 100,000 shards for the horse. I wanted that for a YouTube short. During my time farming that, I realized that there's a few things about the PvP zone you might actually like. First and foremost, the mob density seems to be fairly high. You can notice that in this videos. You'll also probably notice the goblin spawn rate seems to be very high. This is actually the area that has the highest goblin spawn rate I have personally experienced. Keep in mind, this is anecdotal data. I'm not a data miner. This is only from my experience of playing the game. But I got more legendaries. I got more treasure goblins showing up, and I had bigger packs of mobs on average while farming here. Now, what do you actually get for farming this region? Well, there's events that can work for the Tree of Whispers, but on top of it, there is a couple Altar of Lilith in these PvP areas, so you might want to go for that reason. But the primary reason you're farming this location is for the red cosmetic sort of dust or shards or whatever they call it here. They're shards of hatred, I think is effectively the name. You collect these and you turn them in town in order to purchase cosmetics. Now, the cosmetics themselves don't actually gain you any benefit. These cosmetics are things like cosmetics for your horse. You can actually get a horse itself is the most expensive cosmetic, which is a horse with blood all over it. There are horse and mount related trophies that can go on the side. So if you're looking for cosmetics in a way to show off your PvP skills, or really honestly more how much you've been in a PvP area, as it's not necessarily, you're not really trading in like the ears when you kill somebody. So let's actually talk about PvP and what happens. PvP for me seems to be extremely unbalanced. You definitely are either going to one-shot people or get one-shot. That has been the primary of my experience. There seems to be no return on, shout out to Slaydra, we were messing around testing this. There seems to be no diminishing returns on CC, so things like days, etc. can be infinitely chained. The game does not see remotely balanced in terms of PvP. That is my own personal experience. That is mostly because most people aren't going to be the same level, and by the time everyone's level 100, you probably have already been farming this area anyway. So I would assume that most people that are hardcore are going to avoid the PvP areas, because if you meet someone who's like 5 levels higher, even if you're kitted out and they're really not, they're just going to kill you because they're higher level. That's pretty much what I have seen so far in the game. Now, when you kill somebody, you actually get an ear from them. That ear doesn't actually do anything. It's just a trophy saying you killed the person. I couldn't find anywhere you could turn it in. I checked every vendor. I asked all the friends that I knew about it. No one knew what the actual ears do. So they're just a bragging right that you've killed somebody and you have collected their ear. The only things you get are these seeds of hatred, shards of fear. Yeah, they're seeds of hatred. You can see them on the screen here. The seeds of hatred are actually how you turn in and get the cosmetics, and that's from PvE farming. So it's really not a PvP zone where you're explicitly trying to kill people. It's more of a zone where you're trying to farm things, and the only time that you're worried about being killed is when somebody else wants your seeds of hatred and they can steal them from you. So when you die, you effectively drop half your seeds of hatred. If someone kills you, they can take your seeds of hatred, and in order to do that, you have to be flagged. Basically, blood marked is what they call being flagged in this game. Being flagged in this game effectively means you are open to PvP. Now, you will be flagged if you end up trying to turn in your seeds of hatred. You can see there's a number in the top right corner, which will tell you how many seeds of hatred you are carrying with you. When you take those seeds to one of the altars in order to turn them in, it's going to be a 60-second event where some minions will run at you, a very easy event, but during that time, you can absolutely be PvP. You are marked. In order to do that, you have to basically flag yourself. There's also a boss that walks around during the PvP area, which you can kill for a big stack of seeds of hatred, and very often will grant you a legendary at the higher world tiers. But other than that, you're mostly farming this area for mob density, for the fact that it seems like a lot of treasure goblins farm here. I don't think the legendary drop rate is necessarily higher, but just having a lot of minions sort of helps that, and you're mostly farming here for the cosmetics. So if you're wondering the answer to, do I have to do PvP in order to be competitive in this game? In my own personal opinion, the answer is definitely no. You do not have to do PvP. The only PvP zone you might want to step into is the one in the north, because there's an altar that will give you a full Paragon point just for claiming the altar. That's my own personal take. I could be wrong, but that has been my experience so far within the game. The PvP zone is good to farm, but it is not necessary to farm. The PvP cosmetics do look cool, but they don't gain you actual benefits in the game at all. They are purely cosmetic transmog type of things. So that is my opinion on the PvP zone. I will have a more further breakdown as the game evolves, but that's where we're at. Consider subscribing and liking this video today to help me out. Love y'all. See you on the next video.